The venue was too nice for what it was. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, exposed brick walls, Edison bulbs hanging from industrial beams. The kind of place that charged $18 for a cocktail and called it artisanal. My sister Jessica had rented it out for her promotion party. VP of Marketing at Innovex Solutions. Big tech company. Bigger salary. Even bigger ego. The invitation had come 3 weeks ago. Thick cardstock. Gold lettering. Please join us in celebrating Jessica Chen's promotion to Vice President of Marketing. Cocktail attire. RSVP by the 15th. I'd almost thrown it away, but Mom had called. You're coming to your sister's party, right? She worked so hard for this. It would mean a lot if you were there. So I came. Because that's what you do. You show up, you smile, you pretend everything's fine. I walked in at 7:15. Fashionably late, but not rude. The room was already full. About 60 people. Colleagues in designer suits, friends holding champagne flutes. The family clustered near the bar. I was wearing my one good suit. Navy blue from Men's Warehouse. Off the rack, but it fit well enough. White shirt. No tie because I'd never learned to tie one properly, and YouTube tutorials only got you so far. I looked fine. Presentable. Just not expensive. Jessica saw me immediately. She was holding court near the windows, laughing at something someone said. When our eyes met, her smile froze for just a second. Then it came back, brighter and faker. She excused herself and walked over. Daniel, you came. Mom said it was important. It is. This is a big deal for me. Congratulations. VP is impressive. She smiled. The kind that didn't reach her eyes. Thanks. There's food by the back wall. Bar's open. Help yourself. Then she was gone. Back to her circle. Back to people who mattered. I found Mom and Dad near the appetizer table. Dad was loading a small plate with shrimp. Mom was talking to my Aunt Linda about something I didn't care about. Daniel, Mom hugged me. I'm so glad you made it. Doesn't your sister look beautiful? Jessica was wearing a black dress that probably cost more than my rent. Her hair was done. Makeup perfect. She looked like she belonged in this room. She looks great, I said. Dad nodded at me. Good to see you, son. How's work? Good. Busy. Still doing the computer stuff? Software development, yeah. He nodded like he understood, but didn't really care. Turned back to his shrimp. That was the thing about my family. They asked questions, but never listened to answers. I grabbed a beer from the bar, found a corner, watched. Jessica moved through the room like she owned it, touching arms, laughing at jokes, being the center of everything. She was good at this, always had been. The golden child. The one with the degree. The career. The trajectory. I was the other one. The one who'd dropped out of college after 2 years. The one who'd taught himself coding. The one who worked his way up from help desk to senior developer at a mid-sized consulting firm. Made $78,000 a year. Good money. Not impressive. Not VP money. Just enough to be comfortable and invisible. Around 8, someone clinked a glass. The room went quiet. Jessica's boss. A guy in his 50s with gray hair and a suit that cost more than my car. If I could have everyone's attention. I wanted to say a few words about Jessica. People gathered around. I stayed in my corner. Watched from the back. He went on about her dedication. Her vision. Her leadership. How she'd increased engagement by 40%. How she was the future of the company. Everyone clapped. Jessica looked genuinely moved. Like she'd worked hard for this and it finally paid off. Maybe she had. I didn't know. We didn't talk much. Then he handed her the microphone. Thank you so much, she started. Her voice was confident. Clear. This promotion means everything to me. I've worked 12 years to get here. Late nights, early mornings, sacrifices. More applause. I want to thank my team, my mentors, my friends, and my family. She looked around the room. Found Mom and Dad. They beamed. My parents taught me the value of education, of working hard, of never settling. She paused, took a sip of champagne, and then her eyes found me. I also want to acknowledge my brother Daniel. He's here tonight. Every head turned. I felt 60 pairs of eyes land on me. I raised my beer slightly, smiled, tried to look supportive. Daniel took a different path, she continued. No degree, no corporate ladder, just kind of figured it out as he went. And you know what? That's okay. Not everyone is built for ambition. A few people laughed. Awkward laughs, the kind that aren't sure if they should. He's happy doing his thing, living simply. We help him out when we can. That's what family does, right? More laughter. Louder this time. I felt my face get hot. Felt my grip tighten on the bottle. Living simply. We help him out when we can. I looked at Mom and Dad. They were smiling, nodding along. Like this was fine. Like publicly humiliating me at her party was just Jessica being Jessica. But seriously, she said, smile widening, I love my little brother. Even if he has no degree, no real future, and basically lives off our family's generosity. The room erupted. Real laughter now. People actually thought this was funny. I stood there in my Men's Warehouse suit, holding my $3 beer, watching my sister get applause for calling me a failure. She raised her glass. To family, even the ones who never quite figure it out. Everyone drank, everyone cheered. I set my beer down on a nearby table, walked toward the exit. Didn't run, didn't storm out, just moved with purpose. Daniel? Mom's voice is behind me. I kept walking. Daniel, wait. She didn't mean it like that. I stopped, turned, looked at her. How did she mean it? Mom looked flustered. She was just being funny. You know how she is. Yeah, I do. Dad appeared. Don't be sensitive. It's her night. Let her have it. I looked at him. At the man who'd taught me to change my own oil, who'd helped me move into my first apartment, who was now telling me to accept humiliation because it was convenient. You're right, I said. It is her night. I walked back into the room. Everyone was talking again. Laughing, drinking, having a great time. Jessica was near the windows, holding court. She saw me approaching and her smile faltered. I picked up someone's abandoned champagne glass from a table, walked right up to her circle. Can I say something? I asked. She looked nervous. Daniel, I was just joking. I know. I want to make a toast too. I raised the glass. People around us went quiet, curious. To my sister Jessica, I said. Voice clear, steady. Congratulations on your promotion. You earned it. You worked hard. You deserve this moment. She relaxed slightly, smiled. I also want to thank you, I continued, for reminding me who you really are, for showing me, in front of all these people, exactly how you see me. That clarity? That's a gift. Her smile froze. So here's my toast. To Jessica, may you enjoy this success. May you remember this night, because it's the last time you'll see me. I set the glass down, looked at her, then at Mom and Dad standing nearby. Cheers. And I walked out. This time, no one stopped me. I made it to my car before my hands started shaking. Sat in the driver's seat. Breathed. My phone buzzed. Mom. Daniel, where did you go? Come back. Jessica feels terrible. I stared at that message. Read it 3 times. Jessica feels terrible. Not, I'm sorry we laughed at you. Not, that was wrong of her to say. Just, Jessica feels terrible because I'd made her uncomfortable by leaving. I turned my phone off, started the car, drove home. My apartment was quiet when I got there. Small, 1 bedroom in a building that had seen better days. But it was mine. Paid for with money I earned. No one helped me. No one gave me anything. I sat on my couch, turned my phone back on. Watched the messages come in. Mom, please come back. Mom, she didn't mean it. Mom, you're embarrassing her, Dad. Don't be dramatic. It was a joke. Jessica. Daniel, I'm sorry if you got offended. That wasn't my intention. If I got offended. My Aunt Linda. Your sister worked very hard for this. Don't ruin her night. I opened my contacts. Found Mom. Blocked. Dad. Blocked. Jessica. Blocked. Aunt Linda. Blocked. Uncle Ray. Blocked. One by one. Everyone who'd been at that party. Everyone who'd laughed. Everyone who'd let it happen. Blocked. Then I opened my banking app. Looked at my recurring payments. Mom's car insurance, $147 a month, on my policy because it's cheaper that way. Jessica's student loan, $220 a month, helping her pay it off because family supports each other. Dad's phone bill, $85 a month, added to my plan. Years ago I canceled all of them. Right there. Sitting on my couch at 9:30 on a Saturday night. All gone. Then I opened my email. Found every family group thread. Every shared calendar. Every connection. Deleted. Unsubscribed. Removed. By 10 p.m. I was completely disconnected. No family group chat, no shared accounts, no ties. Just me. Alone. Free. My phone rang. Unknown number. I declined it. It rang again. I turned it off completely. Sat there in the silence of my small apartment. The one Jessica thought was pathetic. The one they all pitied me for living in. And I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Relief. Because I'd spent 33 years trying to prove I was good enough, smart enough, successful enough. Trying to earn respect from people who'd already decided I was the family disappointment. The one with no degree, no real future. The one who lived off their generosity. Except here's what Jessica didn't know when she made that toast. Here's what none of them knew. That student loan I'd been helping her pay? I'd paid off $43,000 over 6 years. Not helping. Paying. Because she'd called crying about the interest, and Dad said family helps family. Mom's car insurance? I'd been covering it for 8 years, since her accident that raised her rates. She said it was temporary. 8 years temporary. Dad's phone bill? 10 years. A full decade of paying for a phone he used to call everyone but me. And you know what I got in return? Jokes at my expense. Pity. The narrative that they were helping me. When the truth was the exact opposite. I'd been propping them up for years. Quietly. Without complaint. Because that's what you do for family. But family also doesn't mock you in front of 60 people. Family doesn't laugh when you're humiliated. Family doesn't tell you to stop being sensitive when your feelings get hurt. I pulled out my laptop, opened my work email. There was a message from my boss from 3 days ago. One I hadn't responded to yet. Daniel, been thinking about our conversation. The senior architect position opened up. 112,000 base, team lead. Interested? Let me know by Monday. I'd been hesitating, wondering if I could handle the responsibility, if I was qualified enough, if I deserved it, wondering what my family would think. I hit reply. Yes, I'm interested. Let's talk Monday morning. Sent. Then I closed my laptop, turned off my phone, went to bed. And for the first time in years, I didn't lose sleep worrying about whether I was good enough, because I'd finally realized something important. I was never going to be good enough for them. But that said more about them than it did about me. And I was done trying to prove otherwise. The messages started on Sunday morning. I'd left my phone off all night. When I turned it on at 8 a.m., it took 3 full minutes for everything to load. 47 text messages, 19 missed calls, 12 voicemails, all from numbers I'd blocked. So they'd started using other people's phones. Aunt Linda's phone, Mom. Daniel, please answer. We need to talk. Uncle Ray's phone, Dad. This is ridiculous. Call us back. Even my cousin Michelle's phone, Jessica. I'm sorry. Can we please talk about this? I deleted them all, blocked those numbers too. Made coffee, sat on my balcony, watched the city wake up. Around 10, someone knocked on my door. I looked through the peephole. Mom. She knocked again. Daniel? I know you're in there. Your car's here. Please open up. I stood there watching her through the fisheye lens. She looked tired. worried. Daniel, please. We just want to talk. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I walked away from the door, went to my bedroom, put in headphones, turned on the music. She knocked for another 10 minutes, then gave up. Monday morning, I went to work early. Found my boss's office. About that senior architect position, I said. I'm ready to start whenever you need me. He smiled. Good. How about today? We've got 3 projects that need leadership. You up for it? Absolutely. By noon, I had a new office, actual walls instead of a cubicle, a door I could close, a title that meant something. Senior software architect, team of 6 developers under me, $112,000 a year. My coworker Priya stopped by around 2. Heard about the promotion. Congrats. Thanks. You okay? You seem different. Different how? I don't know. Lighter? I thought about that. Yeah, I think I am. That week, the attempts to reach me got more creative. Tuesday, Jessica showed up at my office building. Security called up. There's a Jessica Chen here to see you. Says she's your sister. Tell her I'm not available. On Wednesday, Dad sent a letter. Actual mail. Daniel, I know you're angry, but you're acting like a child. Your sister made a joke. You're blowing this out of proportion. We expect you at Sunday dinner this week. We expect you. I threw it away without finishing it. Friday, Mom tried a different approach. She sent flowers to my office, big bouquet. Card said, "We love you. Please come home." I gave them to Priya. What's the occasion? She asked. Someone thinks they can buy forgiveness. By week 2, my phone was blissfully quiet. They'd finally gotten the message, or so I thought. Tuesday morning, Jessica posted on LinkedIn. Grateful for this journey. Grateful for growth. Grateful for family who supports us even when we make mistakes. She'd tagged me. I untagged myself. Didn't respond. Just removed myself from the narrative. But it reminded me of something I'd been trying to forget. When I was 24, I'd landed my first real development job. $42,000 a year. I was so proud. Called Jessica to tell her. That's great, she'd said. Voice flat, distracted. Hey, I've got to go. Meeting. She'd hung up before I could say anything else. 2 months later, she got promoted to marketing manager. Made $68,000. She threw a party, invited everyone, made speeches, talked about hard work and dedication. Never once mentioned that I'd helped her pay rent for 6 months when she was unemployed. That I'd loaned her $3,000 for a certification course. Money I never saw again. When I was 27, Jessica bought a BMW. Leased. Couldn't actually afford it. Dad posted about it on Facebook. So proud of my daughter. She's worked so hard. My used Honda Civic never got a mention. These weren't big moments. Just 1,000 small cuts that added up to one clear message. You don't matter as much. 6 months after the party, I got another promotion. Director of Software Architecture. $135,000 base. Stock options. Full benefits package. I was 33 years old, no degree, self-taught. Leading a team of 14. My boss called me into his office. You've earned this. You're one of the best architects we've had. Clear vision, strong leadership. I thought about telling my family. Then I remembered the party, the toast, the laughter. And I said nothing. Just accepted the promotion. Did the work. Lived my life. Around that same time, I started seeing things on LinkedIn. Innovex Solutions announces restructuring. Innovex Solutions reduces workforce by 15%. Innovex Solutions faces Q3 revenue challenges. Her posts changed. Got more desperate. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. Grateful for challenges that make us stronger. Corporate speak for, things are falling apart. Then one day, I saw it. Innovex Solutions files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The article detailed it. Failed product launches, mismanaged funds, loss of major clients. The company was done. I scrolled through the fallout. Hundreds of employees are posting. Thanks, Innovex, for the memories. On to the next chapter. Jessica posted too. Different tone. Vulnerable in a way I'd never seen. After an incredible 7 years, today I'm saying goodbye to Innovex. This wasn't the ending I imagined. If you know of any VP-level marketing opportunities, my DMs are open. VP-level opportunities. She wanted to land somewhere at the same level. Same title. Same salary. I closed LinkedIn. Got back to work. That evening, my assistant knocked on my office door. Hey, HR sent this up. We're opening a new director of marketing position. They want your input on the job posting. She handed me a folder. I opened it. Director of Marketing reports. To VP of Operations salary range. 95K, 115K requirements. 8+ years experience, proven track record. I read through it. Made some notes, sent it back to HR, didn't think about it again. 2 weeks later, the posting went live on our company website. LinkedIn. Indeed. I scrolled past it on LinkedIn without much thought. Then I noticed something. Jessica had been active, commenting on posts, reaching out to recruiters, applying everywhere. Every post had the same desperate energy. Still looking for that next opportunity? VP or director level preferred. Strong background in tech marketing. Let's connect. She'd commented on our company's posting. Great opportunity. Applied. I sat there staring at that comment. Applied. My sister had applied to work at my company, at a position that would report to my division, a position I had input on hiring for. I should have felt panic. Instead, I felt something else. Curiosity. Because there was one requirement in that job posting I'd added myself. One thing HR had questioned, but I'd insisted on. Application must include a 500-word essay. What does family mean to you? HR had thought it was odd. We don't usually do essay questions for director-level positions. Trust me, I'd said. It'll tell us everything we need to know about the candidate. They'd kept it. And now Jessica had applied. Which meant somewhere in the system there was an essay. Written by my sister, about family. I pulled up the applicant tracking system. Found the marketing folder. Scrolled through applications. There. Jessica Chen. I clicked on her file. Resume looked good. Inflated, but good. She'd made her titles sound bigger, her accomplishments grander. I scrolled down to the essay section. Clicked open, and started reading. Family means unconditional support through all of life's challenges. It means showing up for each other, even when things are difficult. My family taught me the value of hard work, perseverance, and loyalty. They've always been my foundation, my support system, and my biggest cheerleaders. I believe strong family values translate directly to strong team leadership. I stopped reading after the first paragraph. Closed the file. Sat back in my chair. Unconditional support. Showing up for each other. My biggest cheerleaders. Words she'd written to get a job. Words she'd never once lived by. I didn't delete her application, didn't reject it, just left it there, in the system. Waiting. Because I'd learned something important over the past 7 months. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And I could be very, very indifferent, while still doing my job professionally, which meant her application would be reviewed like everyone else's, on its merits, with the same criteria. Nothing personal, nothing vengeful, just pure, cold professionalism. And if that essay was any indication of her self-awareness, she was in trouble. 3 weeks after Jessica applied, HR sent me an email. Subject, Marketing Director Candidates, First Round Review. I opened it. 7 candidates had made it past the initial screening. Jessica Chen, phone interview scheduled for Tuesday, 2 p.m. with Sarah Kim, HR. She'd made it through. The resume was strong enough. The essay was apparently good enough. I forwarded the email to my VP, added one line, "All look qualified. Let me know if you need anything from me." Professional, neutral. Exactly what a director should do. Tuesday at 2:15 p.m., Sarah from HR stopped by my office. "Hey, just finished the phone screen with Jessica Chen. Really well, actually. Strong background. Good energy." I'm recommending her for an on-site. Sounds good? We're scheduling on-sites for next week. You'll be on the panel, right? Since marketing works so closely with your division. My stomach tightened. Who else is on the panel? You, me, Tom from operations, and Janet from sales. Standard 4-person panel. Send me the schedule. She left. I sat there staring at my screen. I'd be interviewing my sister. Face to face. For a job she desperately needed. I should have recused myself. Should have told HR there was a conflict of interest. But I didn't. Because this wasn't personal. This was professional. The interview was scheduled for Thursday, 10 a.m. I didn't tell anyone Jessica was my sister, just showed up Thursday morning with my notes like any other interview. We gathered in conference room B, Sarah, Tom, Janet, and me. At 9:58, Sarah's phone buzzed. She's here, I'll grab her. 2 minutes later, the door opened. Jessica walked in wearing a navy suit. Hair pulled back. Professional. Her eyes swept the room. Landed on me. I watched her face go through shock, confusion, and fear. Then forced composure. Good morning, Sarah said. This is our panel. Tom handles operations, Janet's from sales, and Daniel is our director of software architecture. Jessica's eyes stayed on me for a beat too long. Then she smiled. Extended her hand to Tom. Nice to meet you all. We went around shaking hands. When she got to me, her hand was cold. Daniel. Jessica, good to see you. We all sat down. Sarah started with standard questions. Background, experience, why she was interested. Jessica answered well, professional, confident, talked about her 7 years at Innovex, the campaigns she'd led. She was good at this. Always had been. Tom and Janet asked their questions. Both seemed impressed. Then it was my turn. Jessica, can you walk me through a time when you had to navigate a difficult relationship with a stakeholder? She paused. Just for a second. Then launched into a story about a client at Innovex. How she'd managed expectations. Built trust. It was a good answer. Textbook. But it was also complete bullshit. Because I knew how she handled difficult relationships. And how do you handle feedback? Especially critical feedback from team members? I think feedback is essential for growth. I try to create an environment where people feel comfortable being honest with me. I nodded. Wrote notes. The interview continued. 45 minutes. She answered everything well. At the end, Sarah asked if she had any questions. I'm curious about company culture. What keeps you here? Tom talked about innovation. Janet mentioned work-life balance. Then Jessica's eyes landed on me. Daniel, what about you? Everyone looked at me, waiting. I'd say respect, I said carefully. This company values contributions over credentials, results over resumes. It's a place where you're judged on what you do, not what degree you have or what family you come from. Her face went pale. Sarah jumped in. Anything else? Jessica shook her head. No, thank you all for your time. We wrapped up. Sarah walked her out. The rest of us stayed in the conference room. Tom spoke first. She's strong, really strong background. I think she'd be great. Janet nodded. Agreed. Good energy. I like her. They both looked at me. Daniel, you've been quiet. What do you think? I looked down at my notes. She interviewed well. Strong answers. Good experience on paper. But, Tom asked, but I'm not sure about culture fit. Why not? Some of her answers felt rehearsed, like she was telling us what we wanted to hear rather than an authentic insight into how she actually operates. Janet frowned. I didn't get that impression. It was subtle. But how someone talks about difficult relationships is usually a good indicator of how they'll handle conflict here. Tom leaned back. You think she's hiding something? I think she's smart enough to interview well, but interviewing well and performing well are two different things. Sarah came back in. What are we thinking? Tom and Janet shared their positive impressions. Then Sarah looked at me. I have concerns about authenticity. about how she handles conflict. Based on a 45-minute interview? Janet asked. Based on patterns, the way she answered questions, the way she framed experiences. I've seen people who are great at selling themselves but struggle with actual collaboration. Sarah made notes. So what's your recommendation? I looked at the essay one more time. At those words about unconditional support. Words she'd never once lived by. I think we should keep looking. She's qualified on paper, but I don't think she's the right fit for our culture. That's one vote no, Sarah said. Tom? I'm a yes. Janet? Also yes. Sarah looked at her notes. Split decision. I'll need to bring this to the VP. Daniel, can you put your concerns in writing? Of course. The meeting broke up. I went back to my office, opened a new email to Sarah, documented my concerns professionally. Her responses about handling relationships felt scripted. Her essay emphasized values that didn't align with how she framed her experiences. She focused on stability and title rather than genuine interest in our mission. I kept it clinical, professional. No mention she was my sister. Just legitimate business concerns. Hit send. Then I sat there, wondering if I'd just done something petty, or something necessary, or if maybe, for the first time in my life, those two things were allowed to be the same thing. I closed my laptop, looked out my office window at the city below, thought about Jessica sitting in some coffee shop right now, probably hopeful, probably thinking the interview went well, probably already planning what she'd say when she got the offer. She didn't know that her fate was in the hands of a VP who valued my opinion. She didn't know that I'd documented concerns that would be hard to ignore. She didn't know that the brother she'd mocked 7 months ago now had the power to close a door she desperately needed open. And the strangest part? I didn't feel triumphant, didn't feel vindicated, just tired. Tired of carrying the weight of their expectations. Tired of being the one who always had to be bigger, better, more forgiving. I'd spent 33 years trying to earn their respect, trying to prove I was good enough despite the lack of a degree, despite taking a different path, despite not fitting their definition of success. And Jessica had stood in front of 60 people and called me a failure, called me someone with no future, called me a burden, and now she wanted me to give her a future, to lift her up the way she'd spent years putting me down. I turned back to my computer, pulled up my calendar. Next week was full. Meetings, projects, deadlines. A life I'd built without them. A life where I was respected, valued, seen. A life where my contributions mattered more than my credentials. Jessica had been wrong about me. Completely, utterly wrong. And now she was about to find out exactly how wrong. Not because I was vengeful, but because I'd finally learned something important. You can't build a future by tearing other people down. And karma doesn't forget. It just waits. A week after the interview, my VP called me into his office. Got a minute? Want to talk about the marketing candidates? I sat down across from him. Mark was in his 50s, former engineer turned executive. No nonsense, results-driven. Sarah sent me the panel feedback, he said. Interesting split on Jessica Chen. Tom and Janet loved her. You had concerns. I did. Walk me through them. I pulled out my notes, kept it professional. Her answers were polished but felt rehearsed. When I asked about handling difficult relationships, she gave textbook responses, but I didn't see evidence of actual conflict resolution skills. Her essay emphasized values that didn't align with how she framed her experiences. Mark nodded. You think she's not authentic? I think she knows how to interview, but I'm not convinced she knows how to collaborate. And in a role that requires working closely with engineering, product, and sales, that's a problem. He leaned back. Tom made a good point. She has the experience. 7 years at a major tech company. The numbers are solid. On paper, yes. But you're saying paper doesn't tell the whole story. I'm saying I've worked with people who look great on paper and create chaos in practice. People who are good at managing up but struggle with peers. Mark was quiet for a moment. Studying me. You're one of my best directors, Daniel. Your judgment is usually solid. If you have concerns, I take them seriously. I appreciate that. But I also have to consider that we've been searching for 2 months. She's the strongest candidate we've seen. I understand. So here's my question. If we hire her and she reports to your division, can you work with her professionally? I met his eyes. Yes. No personal issues, no conflicts. I'll treat her like any other director, hold her to the same standards, give her the same support. And if she struggles, then we document it and handle it appropriately. Same as anyone else. Mark nodded slowly. All right. I'm going to think about this over the weekend. I'll let you know Monday. I stood to leave. Daniel, he said. Off the record. Do you know something about her that's not in the file? I paused at the door. I know she's very good at presenting a version of herself that gets results. Whether that version's sustainable long-term? That's the question. He nodded. Thanks for your honesty. I went back to my office, sat down, stared at my computer. In 48 hours, Mark would make a decision. And whatever he decided, I'd live with it. Because I'd done my job, given my professional assessment, set clear boundaries. The rest wasn't up to me. Monday morning, Sarah from HR stopped by my office. Wanted to give you a heads up. Mark made his decision on the marketing position. My stomach tightened. And? We're passing on Jessica Chen, going with our second choice, candidate from Austin with startup experience. Less polished in the interview, but Mark felt she showed more authentic collaborative skills. I nodded. Sounds good. Just so you know, he really valued your input. Said your concerns about culture fit were exactly the kind of thing he wants directors flagging. Good to know. She left. I sat there. It was done. Jessica wouldn't be working here. Wouldn't be in my building. Wouldn't be someone I'd have to see in meetings. I waited for the satisfaction, the vindication. Still nothing. Just relief. That evening, I got a text from Mom. First contact in 7 months. Unknown number. Daniel, your sister didn't get the job at your company. Did you have something to do with that? I stared at the message. Thought about responding, about explaining, about defending myself one more time. Then I deleted it. Blocked the number. Because I didn't owe them an explanation. I didn't owe them anything anymore. 3 days later, my phone rang. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Hello. Daniel, it's Jessica. Silence. I know you had something to do with me not getting that job. I gave my professional assessment. That's my job. You sabotaged me. No, I evaluated you the same way I'd evaluate any candidate. You interviewed well, but there were concerns about culture fit. Culture fit? That's bullshit and you know it. Is it? Tell me, Jessica, when's the last time you collaborated with someone who challenged you? When's the last time you admitted you were wrong? When's the last time you showed up for someone without needing something in return? She was quiet. That essay you wrote, I continued, about family, meaning unconditional support, about showing up for each other. You wrote beautiful words, but you've never lived them, not once. So this is revenge? For the party? No, this is a consequence. For 33 years of treating me like I didn't matter. For calling me a failure in front of 60 people. For laughing while I was humiliated. I apologized for that. You apologized because you needed something, not because you were actually sorry. That's not fair. You're right, it's not fair. But neither was the toast. Neither was watching Mom and Dad laugh. Neither was spending my entire life being the kid who was never good enough. I'm struggling, Daniel, really struggling. I need help. Then get help, but not from me. I'm done being the person everyone takes from but no one gives to. So that's it? You're just done with all of us? I'm done being convenient. If you want a relationship, it has to be real. Not transactional. Not based on what I can do for you. Real. And until then, I'm living my life, and you're living yours. I hung up, blocked the number, and went back to work. 6 months later, I was promoted to VP of Engineering. 175,000 base, Full leadership team. Office with a view. Mark called me into his office to tell me, "You've earned this. You're one of the most reliable leaders we have. Clear judgment, strong boundaries. That's rare. Thank you. For what it's worth, you made the right call on that marketing candidate. We hired someone else and she's been excellent. Culture fit matters." I nodded. Didn't say anything. Because Jessica wasn't my story anymore. She was just someone I used to know. Someone who'd made choices that led her in one direction, while I'd made choices that led another. I'd heard through LinkedIn that she'd taken a marketing manager position at a smaller company. Step down from the director. Significant pay cut. I felt nothing about it. No satisfaction, no vindication, just indifference. That weekend, I went to a coffee shop near my new condo. Bought a place 6 months ago. 2 bedrooms, actual space. View of the city. I was reading when someone sat down at the table next to me. I looked up. Mom. She looked older. Tired. She saw me and her face crumpled. "Daniel, I've been hoping I'd run into you." I closed my book. "Mom. Can we talk, please? Just 5 minutes." I gestured to the chair across from me. She sat down. "Your father and I have been talking about everything that happened, about how we treated you." "Okay. We were wrong about a lot of things. We made Jessica the priority and we made you invisible, and we're sorry." I took a sip of my coffee. "What changed? Why now?" She looked down. "Jessica called us crying last week. Said you cost her the job at your company, that you sabotaged her because of the party." "And what did you tell her?" "I told her that maybe she'd earned it, that maybe you had a right to protect yourself." I blinked. "You said that?" "Your father and I have had a lot of time to think. 7 months. We went from hearing from you every week to nothing. And we realized how much you did for us. How much did we take? How little we gave back. I appreciate you saying that. Can we try again? Can we have a relationship? A real one?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "Maybe," I said. "But it would have to be different. No expectations that I fix things. No asking me to help Jessica. No pretending the past didn't happen. We can do that. And no more excuses. No more, 'That's just how she is.' If Jessica treats me badly, you acknowledge it. You don't ask me to forgive it." Mom nodded. "Okay, we can do that. Then maybe we can try, slowly, no promises." She reached across the table, squeezed my hand. "Thank you for giving us another chance." I squeezed back. "We'll see how it goes." She left. I sat there finishing my coffee, thinking about forgiveness, about boundaries, about the difference between holding a grudge and protecting yourself. I wasn't sure if things with my parents would work out, if they could actually change, if we could build something real after years of dysfunction. But I was willing to find out. On my terms. With my boundaries. Because I'd learned something important over the past year. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. You don't have to sacrifice your peace for their comfort. You don't have to earn love from people who should give it freely. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do is say no. Set a boundary. Walk away. Not out of cruelty, but out of self-preservation. Jessica had called me a failure, had said I had no future, had mocked me in front of everyone who mattered. And now she was struggling while I was thriving. Not because I'd sabotaged her, but because I'd finally stopped sabotaging myself. I finished my coffee, closed my book, walked out into the sunshine, back to my condo, my life, my peace, and for the first time in 33 years, I felt like I was exactly where I belonged.